I took 5 days to study Einaudi music. I was wondering why he's so famous and I got seriously annoyed by it. Hello everyone, so I will do this small video on Einaudi, Ludovico Einaudi. I was wondering why he's so famous, why most of people like this music, because actually he was a top seller on Spotify apparently for a long time, and I have many students who ask me if they can play Einaudi. I heard some pieces, of course. I of course heard his music in some films. Typically I have these people say, oh, I love classical music, and then I'm asking, oh yeah, who do you like, which composer? And then they say like Einaudi. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not considered like classical music for me, but why not? So I was just wondering, okay, for me this sounds kitschy, cheap, a bit not really valuable music, or music that I enjoy listening at. It's too simple, it's like a bit boring for me, but I thought let's give it a real chance and let's actually study the composer for a while. So I started watching videos yesterday. I bought one of his books with many pieces, with the last one, Una Mattina, that's the famous one, and actually I must say this one is a nice piece. I know it already and I like to listen to it. So I started to play it yesterday already, and first piece was very long, and mostly you have these same 4 chords or 3 chords that he keep doing the whole piece, and there already I had the first reaction. I must say I stopped the piece because it was too long and always the same, and I got seriously annoyed by it. Just spontaneously telling my reaction. Now, I think it might be different if I listen to it, if you listen to the music, because I have the feeling it's more music that you can listen when you're walking, on where you are in the train or in the car. So I will try to listen to the music in the car, see how I react to this. On Spotify, his playlist, top playlist, and listen to his most famous songs. But as I said, my first reaction by playing it is like he don't modulate, like he doesn't change tonality, which makes a thing very annoying, and which actually composers are supposed to really know, and they should be able to play with this. So they should be able to spot how long you stay in the same tonality and when it's time to change, and to which tonality you want to change. You know, do you want to make a big difference, a big surprise, or do you want to make small differences and change progressively, or something like this? That's something, if you listen to a piece of Chopin, Bach, Beethoven, they are masters of this. They can play with balance, they have the perfect timing for stuff. There is a story in the piece, there are many layers, you can listen to it, it's not getting bored. And when you play it, or when you listen to it, it's like when you listen to it, you can listen very actively and actually listen to all these different layers, the story, the dynamics, the modulations, the complexity sometimes of notes, or some effects that are really nice to find, to listen. And when you play, you have the same things. You even go deeper into discovering all these complex layers, and it's a whole brain enjoyment to have to play Beethoven, to listen to Beethoven or Chopin or Liszt or this kind of composer, which I don't find in Einaudi. But again, I'm trying to find what makes it then so interesting for so many people, or is it just that the majority of the planet is stupid and likes stupid music? No, I'm joking. So I hope it's not this. It could be, like, that's what I want to find out.
I was spending my summer holidays in a small village in the heart of the Swiss Alps, where I had a wooden room that I used as a studio. Experience was born in that situation. The music is structured around the rotation of 4 chords that are repeated like a mantra, creating a kind of trance and elevation effect, as if the music had the power to lift you off the ground. That was my intention.
So I'm talking soft because the baby is sleeping, but actually he don't wake up so easily. And I'm playing him some Einaudi, seems to not wake him up. Had the same effect for me actually. I realized I listened yesterday night to Einaudi CD, 1 hour. It's Una Mattina, this CD with this piece. I had a bit sometimes the same feeling of being annoyed, it's always the same. But after a while I stopped listening and I was more passive, and then I realized it's actually pleasant. It's a kind of soft background music that's nice to listen. No, not nice to have in background if you don't listen too much. And I did the same experience yesterday in the car, so I put the same CD twice, so go and back 45 minutes and back 45 minutes. There is even a piece that I really liked. I have to search the title. I will put it there in the description, in the video. I will put the title. Sometimes some melodies are really nice, or some fractions of melodies are really nice, and of course he's finding some colors that are really pleasant sometimes, which I like. I have the feeling if you listen more to this and you get it as a you get used to this background music, you might, I'm sure you like it, and that's why people like it. Actually, this was my research, right? So I think if you are not an educated musician that have an active listening, it's easy to like this music. If you are an educated musician, if you have a training, your ear is trained, your listening is trained, then it's actually very annoying in the beginning, but if you manage to switch off this thing, it gets very nice music. And by the way, I once was asked to compose stuff in the same style of Einaudi, and I'm not a composer. I didn't study composition. I did the minimum for harmony that you have to do in the conservatory, so I'm not really advanced in harmony even. Of course, I'm a trained professional pianist, so I have a lot of music in my ear, and I heard a lot of stuff, and I have a good musical memory. So someone asked me once to compose pieces in this style, very minimalistic, very simple. He called this post-classical music, I think, or neoclassical music. And I did the test. In the beginning I didn't want because I found it a bit silly, but then I said, like, let's try this, let's see how difficult it is. And it took me, to be very honest, it took me 20 minutes per piece to compose. I composed 3 of them. One I was quite happy with it. I will just play it now. This is one. So to resume the situation, I took 5 days to study Einaudi music, to listen to it, to play it, to actually think about, to listen it in different situations. So listen it actively, playing it and thinking about what he's writing and how he's writing, or listen it in the car or while I'm falling asleep, so not really listening anymore actively. And I'm actually positively surprised, and I started to like Einaudi. Not everything, but some pieces I really started to like. This Droga piece there I really like, and Una Mattina I knew before, I liked also. I found all the pieces peaceful, like relaxing, and my conclusion is this: as a professional musician, it's very difficult to like this kind of music because you listen differently, right? You are educated to be very demanding, or you are used to very complex and interesting and fascinating and very intense pieces, right? Which you don't have with Einaudi. And there are there are also like Ravel, for example, or Chopin has pieces that are very quiet, very relaxing too, but still have this level of intensity or complexity, let's say, I don't know how to call it, that makes you not get bored or makes you not feel it's cheap or it's quite empty, which are the critics Einaudi gets. I was reading some critics, actually he gets very bad critics because he had like I think 7 or 8 concerts sold out in Barbican in London, and some other concert halls were sold out, and professional critics gives him very bad critics most of the time. I read up some other interesting critics, someone who was saying, I think it's a piano teacher or someone or professional musician maybe, who said actually he's bringing people to classical music because people who are not listening to piano or to classical music are more easily introduced or will listen more easily to Einaudi, and once they make this step they will go to Schubert and to other stuff and start again piano lessons or start to practice piano again. And so he said we are lucky we have someone like Einaudi and some other people like Einaudi because they bring more people to classical music, which otherwise would be less or disappear a bit. So that's also an interesting point of view, which I agree. And as I said, like, yeah, I would not practice Einaudi pieces because I don't find any really interest and fascination in the piece, but I can now, I think I probably will listen sometimes in the car or just home when I want to have something quiet atmosphere. So it's atmospherical music, and I was thinking about a comparison to explain what I mean, and I found, maybe it's a poor one, but I found you could understand with water and wine. Like everyone can drink water and can like water. If you just this sport, you need water, right? So if you just went to if you come out from a busy day of work with a lot of stress, relaxing music is of course like water. It's something you need. It's easy to access water you can drink. And wine, like an old wine or a very complex wine, would be something you need some education to like. Your palate needs to be educated to this. You need to be able and trained to focus on different tastes you have in your mouth when you drink wine, and then mostly the first time you drink wine you don't like it. It's with time your palate adapt to this kind of taste and get sensitive to it and start to like it even more than water. Like it's a bigger pleasure for me, for example, to drink a very good wine than to drink water, of course. But then people who don't drink wine don't have this access to the pleasure wine gives you, right? So I think it's a bit similar with classical music and music like Einaudi. It's like water and wine. So I think Einaudi is actually a good composer. I would not say it's a genius, because for me a genius has another signification, but it's a very nice composer. I think he deserves his success because he actually made something that most of people need. Yeah, so I hope this video was informative for you and that it gave you a professional point of view on this music. Since it's easy music, of course I also understand why students want to play this music, because it's a bit more accessible also to play than other, like Chopin and stuff like this, who are really difficult and a bit discouraging. Yeah, so I hope I helped with this, and looking forward for next video.